Okay, welcome to Romera Records podcast. Today we have on
Elias Daniels.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Awesome. So yeah, we don't know each other at all. I think. I told Rachel to hit you up on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then that's how she got in contact with you to start the podcast. But what'd you think? Like when you first got contacted?
I honestly thought it was a scam.
A scam?
Yeah. I was like, because when people DM me, I look at their profile first before I even respond. And I saw that she was like a fitness person. I was like, she's asking about a podcast. What's the podcast about? Is it about weight loss? I'm kind of scared. Then she sent the link to your YouTube channel, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, it's something totally different.
Yeah.
And I watched a couple of videos, and I was like, okay, yeah, this seems cool. So after I knew it wasn't a scam, then I was like, yeah, I'm excited.
That's awesome. Oh, speaking of scams, didn't you get the Memphis Voyager?
Yeah.
Did you think that was a scam?
I did. I got the email and I was like, I don't think I'm going to respond.
Yeah, I think everybody who got that thought that was a scam because I talked to Crisis J. He's a rapper in the area. And then my good friend Ryan, he's my business partner. It was like, what is this is random. Like, why is some random news or article company reaching out to us to do some articles on us? But I was like, all right, but it seemed legit. I started Google searching, the Voyager, and I was like, oh, okay, they do it in different cities, so it makes sense. But what'd you focus on? Like, did you talk? Do you you felt like you got out your story as much as possible?
A little bit, yes and no. It was just little basic questions and stuff like that. So I didn't feel like it went too in depth. It was kind of like a snapshot of who I was in my company. And so, but I appreciated the look.
Yeah.
That was my first time ever being published or interviewed for anything. But yeah, I got as much as I guess I thought they wanted to hear. And just kept it pretty basic and stuff like that. But I did get a lot of clicks and people responding and hitting me up since then.
Nice. Yeah. It's a really cool thing, right? Because not a lot of people get articles written about them and get to tell their story of like how they got to where they are. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think something like that should be more consistent because they probably did like a barrage of like people all at one time, and then it's probably just going to go away. They're probably not going to constantly be doing that. But if it does, that would be awesome. Like I hope they keep doing that.
Yeah, me too.
So when you, I guess like when you are just telling people about all the stuff you do, and we'll get into everything. What's your number one? Like what's your big thing?
I am a photographer first, creative, and then I am a reptile handler.
Okay.
Or a herp, as we like to call herpetologists. That's the scientific term. But people who are like in the community, we just say we herp or we're into reptiles. We're just fanatics and stuff like that.
Okay. So I've got a weird thing about snakes. I can't stand snakes. Like just seeing snakes bothers me.
A lot of people,
but no other reptile does that to me. Like alligators or frogs, anything like that. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, a lot of people are the same way. If they see a frog, they're not going to freak out. Or if they see a lizard in the yard or whatever, or on the building, it doesn't bother them. But the minute a snake is, everybody run for the hills.
Have you had enough interactions with people to, I guess, get your own theory of why that is? You think it's like movies or something like TV shows of deadly snakes and stuff
Honestly,
like that?
I think it's religion mainly. But I also, the Western religion, I won't say that because there are other religions and cultures that actually worship snakes.
They welcome them.
But also, I just think a lot of just misinformation. Like the biggest misconception is that people think that snakes chase people, and they don't.
Yeah.
A snake will try to run away as soon as possible to get away from human beings, especially out in the wild.
Yeah.
Like they don't see a human as like, I'm going to chase you. Like, no. Now, if you get too close, they might strike towards you. But once you start running, they're going to go about their business. They're not going to follow you at all.
Yeah.
And another misconception is that meme on Facebook that's like, the snake is sizing you up to see if it can fit you in them. And it's like, no, that is a lie. Snakes, because in the wild, they don't size up their prey. They're very opportunistic eaters. And if the prey is too big, they'll spit it out. If it's too small, they'll swallow it and then go try to find something else to fill their bellies. Like they don't have a ruler to say, hey, can this fit in my stomach?
I never really thought about it like that, because there's always that famous story of like the woman who had a snake and she goes to the doctor and asks like, why is it, doing something?
Why is it not eating?
Yeah. And they'll say, because it's sizing you up or something like that. And it's like, yeah, snakes, I've heard that all the time, that when they eat something and they can't digest it, they just
regurgitate it back out. And it's like, no, if this was true, if a woman really went to her vet and said, my snake's not eating, first of all, your vet is ill-informed and don't know anything. But second of all, the reason why your snake wasn't eating, because you have it in your beds. Like you don't have it under proper heat. So when they get too cold, they're not hungry. They go into like a dormant state, or, because they have slow metabolisms when they're cold. So it's like, if I'm in a bed with a human and not under some UVB lights or a heat pad, it's like, I don't feel like eating. I'm not motivated to eat. Like I'm too cold. Kind of like the wintertime with humans. Like we're not motivated to go outside when it's too cold. Like that snake is the same way.
Yeah, that is definitely correct.
Yeah.
I think people, we like to definitely think the same, like group think. So I would say the majority of people are not snake lovers. So when these misconceptions arise, like we all want to just we just cling to it. Like we all want to believe what those misconceptions are.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe something like what's his name, like Steve Irwin, when he was dealing with different types of animals and showing people like, look, this is what this thing actually does. Like people like that, I think are great for humanity. Yeah, because they're showing like real life stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, they would say, God, what's that other dude? That guy that would like go out in the wild, and it was like he was trying to live out in the wild and whatnot.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
I can't think of his name, but they said that dude would be like staying at 5-star hotels and then like shoot the show and then go back to his hotel. Yeah. He would not be staying out there. No, it's
a lot of sensationalizing fakeness, but I believe Steve, he was for real out there.
He was about it.
Yeah, he was about it. He didn't mind getting bit.
Yeah, that was so crazy. Like, he'd be like, they got me. I'm like, Steve, no, you're about to die. Yeah, that was pretty wild. Like, and have you seen like his son and their whole family?
The Irwin family. I follow them all on social media. My goal is to one day to go to Australia and meet them. Like go to their zoo, and it's just, I love them. And his son is an amazing photographer. He's like one of my inspiration when it comes to wildlife photography, which is what I'm shifting my focus on. Because when I first started off shooting, I was doing mostly portraits, and family members call and book me for like birthday parties and stuff like that. But I honestly, humans bore me. No offense to anybody I've ever worked with.
That makes sense.
I love you all the model friends in Memphis, but humans bore me, and I'd rather shoot animals. And so his son, Robert, is a big inspiration. He's one of the best wildlife photographers ever, in my opinion.
Yeah. So when you get into wildlife photography, what's that like trying to like attack a certain animal? You're like, all right, if I'm going to go shoot let's say, I don't know, like you wanted to find like a bobcat or something like that. Like, are you just searching areas that are highly populated with bobcats and like how you can get a good distance? Like, how would you?
Yeah, it takes a lot of planning, a lot of travel, because, I live in a city.
Yeah.
The only thing Memphis has to offer as far as wildlife is the birds in the countryside, or going to Shelby Farms, and maybe you'll catch a deer. Like last year, I caught a deer just random. I was out there at Shelby Farms taking a photo shoot with a friend, and we were walking up a trail, and we was like, what's that noise? And we looked to the left, and it was a deer. And so thank God I had my Zoom camera, and my Zoom lens on my camera, and I just immediately just turned it on and started shooting. And it's some of my favorite pictures I've ever taken. So, but everything else, I use the Memphis Zoo to my advantage as far as practicing, because, the animals are in a confined space and I have a lot to work with. So every Saturday morning, I'm probably going to go tomorrow. I hit up the big cats, go to the African side, take pictures of the giraffes just to get my practice on. But I also like to travel. Like last year, for the first time, we went to this brand new safari zoo. It's called Southland Safaris.
Okay.
They had sloths there. They had kangaroos, like acres of kangaroos.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how they got all these kangaroos, but it was amazing. I was able to take a lot of dope pictures there. And so my goal is to travel and probably go out to the mountains of Gatlinburg and see if I can catch some bears or something. But I do want to get like in the real wildlife and catch them in their natural habitats. I just use the zoos for practice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I went to me and Rachel, we went to Gatlinburg. Shoot, when was that? I think it was in like November. And when we were there, there was a few black bears out. Like when you drive that little trail or whatever, and there were some black bears out. And I hear they're pretty much everywhere. You just gotta be in the right spot, right time. But
because I remember our church when I was a child took a trip out to Gatlinburg to go to Dollywood, and we went to go throw trash into the trash can because we had like a big pizza night, and me and my friends went to open the trash can and a bear head popped out. And we just took off running.
Oh my God.
And we were so young, and I did not have a camera then, but had I probably would have risked it to take a picture. We was like, it's a bear.
Oh my
And then
God.
the owners of the little cabin resort was like, yeah, we get those sometimes. They just in the trash can.
I mean, what are you going to do? Like, you can't stop the bears from coming around unless you got somebody like constantly guarding your trash cans or something like that. Bears, they're pretty cool creatures, and I would say they're borderline aliens. Like the way that they can smell and how fast they are and how big they are, they're pretty creepy creatures. Like if you had, I don't even know why nobody ever does this. I guess because bears can be kind of cute. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, it's very deceptive.
They're intimidating, but they're also pretty cute at the same time. So like you don't see, I can't think of any scary movies with bears or the central of the movie. Not
many. It's a few probably B movies out there. I remember seeing one called Grizzly. Probably was shot back in the 70s, but it's not like they do with the snakes and the shark movies. But and their claws, even as babies, like,
oh my God,
will rip your face off. They could just be playing with you and half your face is gone. And so God. They could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, but they're so like, they do everything to the max with, as I said, like with their smell. I hear like a bear can smell from like miles away, and then how fast they run and how strong they are. It's like,
and they can climb. So if you're trying to outrun them and you jumping up a fence or a tree, they're gonna catch you.
Bad news.
Right behind you.
They make perfect scary movie creatures. Like they can do anything. If they could talk, we'd be in trouble. Like or fly.
Yeah.
I say we're really fortunate that like certain creatures aren't different. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if spiders were the size of elephants or something. You know what I mean? Like,
I would die. That's the only animal I fear.
Yeah.
And I got some friends who got me to at least hold a tarantula.
Yeah.
But beyond that, no. Spiders, no.
and it's crazy because if you really think about it, some of the biggest creatures on the planet are some of the nicest ones, like elephants.
Yes.
I mean, I guess like a wild elephant, you don't go walking up to a wild, but like ones that have been in like a zoo or something like that, that have been well taken care of and been around people.
And the rhinos and stuff. Yeah, they're for the most part, they're pretty chill.
Yeah.
Except for their common enemies like the lions and the gators or the crocs in Africa. But other than that, they don't bother anybody. But I think it's because of the big size. Like they know nobody can take them.
Yeah, even like whales.
Yeah,
like, super nice creatures. But why wouldn't you be?
Yeah,
because ain't nothing attacking you unless you got like a herd of sharks or something like that. So I mean,
and even then, like sharks, like the great white. Everybody loves Jaws, but it's like I've seen so many videos where people going scuba diving and the sharks don't bother them. They might go look to see, hey, what's that person? Is that a dolphin or but then they'll just go on about their business.
Yeah.
It's the dolphins you got to worry about. Those are the bullies of the ocean.
I've heard that. Yeah. And it's funny because when we think of dolphins, we think of these cute creatures, but I've heard they like rape other dolphins like all the time. And
kill other sea creatures just for the fun of it, just because they're bored.
That's so
Not
weird.
even for defense.
Yeah. And we think of dolphins as, these cute, sea animals, but it's like, they can be pretty wild.
And studies show that they got the intelligence of the humans. Like they have the intelligence. Like they're very smart. How they communicate with each other, it's amazing. But yeah, if I'm in the ocean, I'm more afraid of dolphins than I am of sharks.
So what's your favorite animal?
That's hard. I will say snakes now.
Okay.
For the past couple of years, snakes have won my heart. Before that, it was the wolf. Growing up as a child, I was obsessed with wolves. I thought that if I could get like a half wolf, half husky and name it Balto, that would be my dream animal. Of course, that's illegal. But as a child, that's all I wanted. Wolves and also falcons.
Okay.
It's like my favorite bird
so why the
of
wolf?
all time. Because I love dogs and wolves are like the gods of dogs. Yeah. So it's just, even as a child, just fascinated. Every time I saw him on TV, saw him in the movies, I just thought that was just a big dog, a big wild dog that howled at the moon. I just loved them.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize, but like all dogs came from wolves. It's just how we decided to breed them.
Selective breeding, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, if you want a nicer dog, then just get you a nicer wolf and just keep that. And then if you want a bigger one, then just keep it with the big ones. And then that's how we got all the dogs that we have today.
Yeah.
But some dogs probably shouldn't have made it through. I'm not a huge fan of like super small dogs.
A lot of them are not. They should not have been around. Yes, it's convenient to have a small dog. Like I used to have a Pomeranian, but those are little devils.
Yeah. And they just yap.
Yeah.
Like there's no barking. There's a yapping. That's what that is.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. So why the falcon?
I just thought it was a beautiful bird. And I grew up, my mom, when she had me, her and my dad had got divorced or whatever. So she had to move back with her parents. And so my granddad has all this farmland. He had goats, pigs, rabbits, everything. And it was like, I just always see these little weird birds running around, flying around. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And my granddad would say, well, that's a hawk, that's a falcon, that's this, that. And for me, the falcon was the prettiest bird in the world.
Nice. Yeah, they're pretty just interesting birds in general. Are they the fastest?
There is the fastest bird. It's the peregrine falcon.
Peregrine falcon. Okay.
And when they dive for their prey, it's like they said it's the equivalent of getting hit with a bullet.
Oh my God.
If it dives down and you just happen to be in its way and it pops you, it's OV.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they said that's the fastest bird in the world. So yeah.
Yeah, those like I was watching something and it was talking about like the fastest animals on the planet.
Yeah.
And I think one of the falcon was up there. And then there was like some beetle. And it was like the beetle, if it was the size of a person, I think they said it would go like 300 miles per hour.
Oh my gosh.
And they said it runs so fast
that we could barely see it.
Yeah, like, well, it said that it runs so fast that it can barely see, like it goes blind. And I was like, dear God!
Oh wow!
Imagine running that fast that you go blind, that you can't see.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I've never heard of that, but I can believe it.
Yeah, animals are very, very interesting creatures, and I don't think we as people do enough research on them for what we could get out of them. Like, you know, we share a planet with them. So first off, I would say we should definitely do our part in making sure that we don't screw up the planet for them. Because I know they don't think like we do and like, oh, we should build a house and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like we can enjoy, you know, their company. And it's something that I feel, I guess it's like our responsibility to just do our part and keep their habitats and all kinds of stuff. Every time I see videos of lions and tigers in an area where it's like, you don't have to do that. Like a lion that's in the Sahara when there's like no water and no grass, or a tiger that's like running through snow in Russia. I'm like, dude. Yeah. There are better places in life than that area. So it's unfortunate we can't just like throw a bunch of grass in like the desert land where like a lion is and just like build ponds. Like we can, like they've done that.
We could, yeah.
But it's something that is difficult, and I don't think we aren't putting enough resources toward that. And it could definitely be done, but like at the rate that we are applying our resources to that, it's just not going to happen.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We fucked this planet up royally.
For sure.
But I do say that some of us are trying our best as far as like certain zoos and certain activists and things like that. Not PETA. But there are some people who are actively trying their best to save what we can. I know in almost every country, the natives are fighting for land, and not just for themselves, but for wildlife. I want to travel to, one of my bucket list places is Costa Rica.
Okay.
And also further down south, and their native people are trying to fight to keep the very little rainforest they still have left, because unfortunately the tourism is all-time high. People love the beaches and everything else, so they're cutting down trees and things and trying to build more hotels and more Airbnbs and lofts and stuff like that. And they're like, y'all, we don't have that much rainforest left, and we need it.
Yeah. The
trees, the oxygen, everything. And if y'all wipe it all out just to build a Hilton, you know, what's the point of going to Costa Rica if the jungle isn't there?
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Costa Rica to look like Miami. I don't. Like, I want it to look like the jungle.
Yeah.
I want to see the snakes that I own. I want to see their wild relatives out in the wild doing their thing, eating birds and stuff like they're supposed to, instead of just, you know, unfortunately for the ones at the zoo, they're stuck with just rats and rabbits.
Yeah.
So it's like we gotta protect what we have left, because right now we're just dwindling away for real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen tons of videos of like National Geographics where they're narrating, talking about how the rainforests are like dwindling and all this stuff. I'm just like, gosh, let's think about this. That's where a lot of resources are coming from. So let's not screw this up. I mean, all the oxygen, as you were saying, like these plants and trees is so important.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I get it. We want to have all these nice things in life, but we've got to find like some sort of compromise between, okay, cool stuff. yes, but also seeing, certain animals in their natural habitat. That's also cool. And
Yeah.
having a fake real habitat like zoos and whatnot, that shouldn't be like a goal. You know what I mean? Like we shouldn't be like, ooh, we could take this rainforest in Brazil and make it a really nice zoo. It's like, no, just leave it.
Yeah.
Just leave it like it is. Because it was here before we were here. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think zoos are cool up to an extent until I see certain animals looking real sad, and I'm just like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Why am I supporting this?
Exactly. Yeah. They have their place. I've traveled all over, and everywhere our family travels, or if I travel solo, I always go and check out different zoos and sanctuaries and stuff like that. And there are some where I come out inspired, like, wow, they're really doing a great thing for the animals. Then there are other times where I'm like, I really want to go free that lion right now, but I don't want him to end up on the interstate.
Have you seen that video of that dude where he's talking to that cat that's in the store? He's like, I'm going to get you out of there. Yes. You don't belong in there. Yes. That's how I feel. Like looking at some animals. I'm like, I'm going to get you out of there.
I'm going to get you out of here. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
You don't belong in there. Because, I mean, especially like the monkeys, right? Like monkeys are so agile and like they can do such great things. And we've seen them use tools. And it's like, don't captivate that thing, because that thing we're stunting its evolution right now.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like ever since Tiger King, everybody's been like, free all the big cats. Let's shut all these zoos down, which rightfully so, because those places were a hot mess.
Yeah.
And people were going against SeaWorld with the big whales and stuff like that. But I feel like monkeys are the most abused out of every animal. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a highly qualified zoo or the low end or a private zoo or just any tourist attraction. Even if you go to their natural, if you go to Africa right now, there are certain places, as soon as you get off the plane, you'll see a guy on the road with a monkey with a leash, and he's like playing little drums or stuff. It's like, y'all, like the monkeys, yes, they're intelligent and they're just like us, like they're us, but it's like, why is the monkey with a vest on and a collar playing the drums as soon as you get off the airport in Africa? Like, no, let it be in the trees. Let it do its thing. And, we can study them. We can, learn from them. We can record them and record their behaviors and stuff. But forcing them to perform is... I just feel like they get the most abuse. Yeah. And I feel sad.
And it's exactly what you said, that forcing them to perform and like forcing them to be our entertainment. Like that's something that we as people think that, we're top of the food chain. So everything else is either food or entertainment.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of nice being top of the food chain and be able to make that decision. But at the same time, with great power comes great responsibility. So it's our responsibility to make sure that we aren't abusing the animals that we have and that we'll keep them. Like, I think, gosh, what is it? It's like certain tigers are going extinct. There's something else that's going extinct that's like odd. I don't know if it's like wolverines or something.
Something like that, yeah. It's a lot.
It's going extinct. It's like, I never thought that thing would go extinct. You know what I mean? Like,
it's in critical danger, yeah.
Because, I think there's something like above endangered. It's like something, then endangered, then extinct. And then it's like...
Yeah.
I never really thought that like certain animals would
make their list.
Yeah, would just be on that list because of how we could treat them. You know what I mean? Like, we're smart enough to not destroy habitats and stuff like that, but yet we still do it. And I'm not some like huge animal rights person, but at the same time, it's just common sense. You know what I mean? Like, let's try to preserve the planet the way it is instead of just, doing whatever we want to and then realizing later, 100 years from now or 200 years from now, being like, oh, we shouldn't have did that. It's like
we should not have wiped those particular animals out. Because everything has its place. Mm-hmm. Every animal has its place. Every plant has its place. Every human has its place. And it's like a couple of years ago, the whole world was freaking out about the bees because the bees were
I heard
they were almost extinct, and luckily we have a bunch of people who are saving them, and I think their numbers are back up. But a couple of years ago we were freaking out like, if the bees die, we are all royally screwed because they keep the pollination and everything going, and they do so much for us that we take for granted. And it's just it's crazy that I don't know. I know it's all just selfishness and money and greed that's behind it, because even big animal rights activists or corporations don't really love the animals.
Yeah.
They just, they just don't want you to have an animal. Like PETA is big on, we don't want nobody to have cats and dogs. Yeah. We don't want nobody to have fishes. We don't want you to have anything. So let's fight, take them out your hand, and then go kill them off.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you're going to wipe out the animals that you claiming that you're fighting for? And it's crazy. All they want is that money, that corporate money, that government money. They're all in bed together. And it's like, what can we do to look good while at the same time doing all the dirty deeds that we're doing behind the scenes?
Yeah, corporate companies like that, it bothers me so much because it's all about, the image. What can we portray to people to make them think we're on their side or something like that. So those are really annoying. But again, going back to like people like Steve Irwin and stuff like that, those people are the type of people that we need like in the forefront to lead the type of actions and stuff like that to make sure that animals are preserved the way that they should be.
And they try to villainize him so much when he was alive and when he died. Like just because he's on TV doesn't mean he was no Joe Exotic. He wasn't Carol Baskin. Like he was really fighting for the animals, and up until his death, like he was actually doing the work. He wasn't taping the show and then going off to a hotel. He died doing what he loved. They were out there, trying to help the animal, the stingrays and stuff like that. Like he's actually going out there trying to help them, trying to help the scientists study them, track them, keep numbers and stuff on them. And, he just died doing what he loved.
Yeah.
Helping animals, saving animals. But people tried to villainize him because he was on TV. He was a well-known name. He was popular. But he saved more animals than any of these corporations ever tried. Yeah.
And also, like, he's saving animals by educating people.
Yes.
Like, the education that you get from somebody who's actually doing it, like somebody who's actually in the field, is irreplaceable because you're not going to get, think about when we're in, like, middle school and high school. Like, they're not teaching us about animal welfare and stuff like that. Like, one thing that I've learned a lot from Rachel is like animal health. Like she's been looking up so much into like dog health and stuff like that. And so we have a dog and she feeds it raw diet. And it's turned out that that's really the thing that you should be feeding. It's more
beneficial, yeah.
Yeah, because like she feeds our dog like raw chicken, raw beef, and liver and gizzards, stuff like that. Because it's something that like a wolf would go eat.
Yeah.
It's something that a primal animal would go get. You're not going to see a wolf in the wild eating kibble, like dog food.
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
Yeah, they're all carnivores. So it's like even dogs, even cats. Like that's why if you let your cat out in the street, they're gonna kill some birds or some rats. Like they like to chase and they like the meat. That's just. But we've bred them and trained them to accept the kibble.
Yeah,
and it's just substitute meat. It's vegan meat for them. Yeah. But in reality, they need their real nutrients and stuff like that. But I get it because, some people can't afford to feed their dogs raw meat and stuff. So I get both sides of the argument. But our animals, our pets would benefit a lot if we did incorporate some of that.
Yeah.
Like giving them like at least beef every once in a while.
Yeah.
Or the actual chicken. Like my dad would always give my dog the chicken bones or the steak bones, but sometimes he would actually leave the meat on there so she can actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
Instead of just giving her the bare bones.
And I didn't know this until Rachel was telling me about it, but like dogs are supposed to eat uncooked, like everything.
Yeah, uncooked, yeah.
Because the cooked bones and stuff like that they'll like get brittle and splinter. And that could like, if the dog eats it, it could like cut up their lining of their esophagus and stuff like that. So growing up, that's what we fed our dogs.
Yeah,
it was like all the
here.
scraps. Yeah. We fed them
every 4th of July. It was like Christmas for them.
Yes, that and Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
Dear God. I like thinking about that now, I'm like, how did but I mean, I had an Alaskan Husky and he was, I want to say maybe like 10 years old when he died. And I'm not even sure what happened to, I think he had heartworms and which could have been from what we were feeding him. I don't know. And then also had a part chow, part lab, and he had a massive tumor like on his back.
Oh, wow.
And just thinking about, like, we always fed them like just dog, like wet food, and then also the dry dog food. And then we also would like give them whatever food we were eating and just like the scraps or whatever. So just thinking about that now, I'm like, oh, that's probably why they had health issues or whatever. Like it wasn't, just random health issues. It was probably, whatever we were feeding them. And, humans are the same way. Like somebody would complain about why, they're in bad health. And it's like, well, you're eating bad food all the time.
McDonald's, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Chick-fil-A and stuff.
It's your fuel. You know what I mean? Like that's why wolves are so, can have all the stamina in the world and can take down an animal on an empty stomach is because they are just constantly eating the right food. I guess they eat berries and stuff like that as well as with the probably some plants or whatever and eating, majority like an elk if they go as a pack, track down like a big animal. So they're eating the right stuff to be able to do what they need to do. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. Yeah, that's something to think about.
I do think that, we as people need to enjoy our lives. Like me, I will tell people first off, I might look fit and all that, but donuts, oh my God.
Yes.
I love donuts. And I love like donuts, ice cream, and really like pastries in general. I love pastries, ice cream, and brownies. And cookies. Like those like are my main like desserts that I love to eat, but I don't do it all the time. Like I just do it. I'll do it when I feel like I'm like, oh, like I'm going to go get some, I'll go to Freddy's and get some custard. Yeah. Speaking of that, did you ever go to Sheridan's?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That was a sin. I would wait for payday just to go and have the wedding cake. Yes. Oh my gosh. When that place shut down, my heart broke.
Oh my God.
I was like, I can't wait to payday. I'm going to Sheridan's.
My life.
Those custards were. Woo.
Oh my God. Yeah, that wedding cake.
Oh my gosh.
I think I kept getting cheesecake, everything. Like I would get I would get strawberries and cheesecake, or I would get Reese's and cheesecake. Like I would just always mix something with cheesecake. And then one day I was like, wedding cake. I'll try it, whatever. I was like, oh my God.
It's something about wedding cake, anything. Like, have you ever had Gigi's cupcakes? Back when they were a big thing. I don't think they're still open anymore, but it was this big chain. Well, not chain, but they had a couple of stores in Memphis. And I remember when they first opened, lines out the door. And I decided finally one day I drove by and it wasn't a line. I said, let me run in there. And their wedding cupcake was a sin. I know it was all sugar frosting, but oh my gosh.
Worth it.
Just saying wedding cupcake from Gigi's, the taste is coming back to me.
Oh, man.
Like, man, R.I.P. Gigi. I don't know if they're still open.
Yeah, I remember one time me and Rachel, I think one of us was on Facebook and we were like, did Sheridan shut down?
Oh
and
my gosh. It was like, such a sad day.
Going through our phones, like trying to scroll through, like figure out what happened. And I was like, oh my God, what do we do? Like, I think the first thing we did was just for like 30 minutes straight try to find out if this was true or not. And it was just so upsetting. But then I was like,
driving down stage and seeing that one turn to a tops pissed me off. I was like, no, that is Sheridan.
You just go up to the place and start trashing. You're not Sheridan's.
Exactly. Take your barbecue elsewhere.
I had heard they got bought out by Dixie Queen, though. That was the first story I heard.
Wow.
So
I haven't heard that, but I could believe it.
So
taking out the competition.
Is Dixie Queen just is it just like a local Memphis thing?
I think so.
Okay.
I believe so. I've only seen Dixie Queen here.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever saw it.
Growing up as a child, I always thought, hey, that's the Black Dairy Queen. Like, that's just what I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, let's go to the Black Dairy Queen. Get some wings, get a shake, and call it day.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I'd heard that it got bought out by Dixie Queen. So I was like, is Dixie Queen going to just take the recipes and start making their custard, or are they just going to put a Dixie Queen where Sheridan's was? But I was like, probably wouldn't be smart. Sheridan's was actually in a terrible location.
Yeah.
It was absolutely horrible location, but they had a ton of business. Like every time we would go, there was I would say at least 3 cars there, which doesn't sound like much, but still that's business every time you go.
Every time. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I would love for somebody to
just bring it back to us.
Like replicate that. Take one for the team and throw copyrights out the book, trademark, redo shit. Because that place was phenomenal.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I had a friend that actually came down from Dallas, and I was like, "Oh, let me take him to Sheridan." So I was like, "Have you ever had custard?" And he was like, "No." So I was like, "We're going to Sheridan." So we go, and he ordered something, I got something, and I don't know why, but we accidentally started eating each other's. Like, I looked at it, and I guess I didn't even realize it wasn't
even what you ordered.
So I'm eating, and I'm like, all right, this is great, like always. And he was like, man, this is good. And he's
it wasn't even the one he asked for.
And then I was like, dude, I have yours and you have mine. He was like, oh, man, you have to keep that one. This is good.
He was like, I don't even want that no more.
I was like, dude. But yeah, like, no matter what, this train. Like, when we first got this spot, I was like, all right, that train's going to suck. But I was like, surely if I'm doing a podcast, my podcast lasts for usually like an hour, 2 hours, whatever. I was like, surely out of the 24 hours in a day,
it's not going to run.
It's not going to happen. I did a podcast earlier today. The train came by. Doing a podcast now, train comes by. I'm like, dear God, how much does this thing come by? But anyways, yeah, I really hope somebody does something similar. Like Freddy's is a okay substitute. It's okay,
but
it's not Sheridan's.
The flavors, no, it's not there. It's not as rich.
Yeah.
If I don't feel like I'm drinking diabetes, it ain't worth it.
Have you ever had Culver's?
Yes, I have.
Culver's is really good.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. I believe the one I went to was in. My sister went to Murray State in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And they had one up there.
Oh, okay.
And she took us up there one time. We went to go visit. It was pretty good.
Yeah. But their whole line of food is really good too. I would say they're like the upgrade of Dairy Queen.
Yes.
Like their burgers are great.
I would say
their
that.
Fries, their custard, everything's better. So I think that this area does okay with food as far as like your selection of non-mom and pop like franchise restaurants, but I definitely think it could be better. Like
it could do better. I think the only ones who stand the test of time, at least for right now, are the coffee shops. I think it's come to Memphis, they're the only ones who have not shut down on me yet. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Everything else, real big, and then fall by the wayside eventually. Like as soon as Freddy's opened, I was like, okay, that seemed neat, that seemed cool, but I'll give it 10 years. Yeah. It's got to that point that whenever something new and hip is like, I'll give it 5. I start making bets. Me and my sisters, like, how long you think this gonna last?
Yeah.
Cause it's real big at first, and everybody in Memphis go towards it. But after that, no go. Jerry snow cones lasting a long time.
See,
yeah, they're lasting pretty good.
Okay, so with Jerry's, I think I got the wrong thing the first time I went. So I ended up getting what did I get? I don't know if it was like birthday cake or something. I forgot what it was. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
I didn't believe the hype in Jerry's snow cones. I was like, I don't know what this is. But I think it was either a milkshake or ice cream. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't a snow cone.
Yeah.
So I might have messed up. But it was one of those, and the same thing happened to me. Do you know who Michael Butler Jr. is?
No.
So he's a photographer. I'll have to show you some of his stuff. Or I'll send you his Instagram. But I actually had him on the podcast. That's how I met him. But he posted something about Cordova's Dixie Queen and was talking about how trash it is. And I was like, okay. That was the first ever Dixie Queen I went to, and it wasn't that great. So now I understand.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about and then I had another guy on, Dominic, and he was talking about how great Dixie Queen was. And I was like, okay, I got to go check out Dixie Queen. But the first one I went to was the Cordova one.
Oh, yeah.
And Michael
you
Butler
gotta go
Jr.
to the hood. Yeah.
Michael Butler Jr. posted on Facebook about how trash it is, and it had like hundreds of likes and comments and shares and all this stuff. He was like, man, didn't know this would blow up like that. But he was talking about how the menu didn't look right. Like it's got to be more hood and all this stuff.
Greasy. If your bag is not soaking in oil, like, and I've never been to the one in Cordova where the bag was soaked in oil. Like, no, it's very colonized to say the least. So whenever I have a taste for Dixie Queen, I always go to the one in Fraser or the one Mount Moriah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I gotta go where I feel the soul, the grease, and everything else.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. I was like, yeah, this isn't that great. And then when he talked about how it's nothing's right about it, I was like,
nothing's right.
Okay.
No, I've even had some of their wings, and it didn't taste right to me.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge food person. I love going places that just have different stuff. And, the price, I throw it out the window if I feel like I'm getting a good value for it.
Yeah.
One place that the price is kind of up there, but I'll go there every once in a while. I've been there one time, and it was a few months back, but definitely worth it. It was Brother Juniper's. You ever been there?
Mm-mm.
Brother Juniper's. They serve breakfast food, and it is probably one of the best breakfasts I've ever had. Them and biscuits and jams that I just had her on the podcast. Those are probably the best breakfasts I've ever had in this area, and definitely worth it. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to look them up.
Yeah, but yeah, just this area. The diversity, I think, could definitely be better because of the people are diverse. And I think there's an Ethiopian place around here. And I was like, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
I think there's a few like Indian restaurants around here. And a few other things that I thought were pretty different. But I love that. Like, I love seeing different choices.
Yeah, me too. I'm a big foodie, so I like trying things new. I'll try anything at least one time, except for, no offense, but the more Indian food, because I just don't do spices. I don't like anything spicy. So for all those people who know Indian food, if there's a restaurant, they got a good meal that don't have any spice in it, I will try it. But other than that, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I just, my tongue, my taste buds, it just does not do spice at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm a huge fan of trying things, but I still don't think my taste buds are really that diverse because I am completely fine with, like, when I'm trying to eat healthy, like, I'm completely fine with eating like chicken with salt and pepper, and then like I'll just throw a sweet potato in the oven, and then I'm done. Like I'll eat that all day. But I'll try pretty much anything. I mean, other than like some really weird stuff, but traditional, I guess, like people are like, oh, this is a traditional dish. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll try that. Like a country's like famous dishes or stuff like that. But I don't know. Like I'll try certain stuff if I go to like maybe like a Chinese or Japanese restaurant or something like that. And I'm like, oh, I've never had that. I'll try that. But I don't always love it though. And it's, I don't know, maybe it's because my American palate, like I love pizza and burgers and stuff like that. So maybe that has affected, how diverse my palate really, really likes stuff. So do you find yourself, I guess, eating, I don't know, like a diverse animals, or are you like, how do you try to eat?
I've tried pescatarian a couple of years back, and it worked well for me. So I am working towards going back to that, because I do, even though vegans get on my nerves with their antics, but I am trying to wean off meat, especially the cows. I've been off pork, like my whole family, we've been off pork for the most part, pretty much for the past 10 years. Like just the smell of it would make my mom sick. We just, for some reason, pork just affected our bodies very differently to where we would get sick. And so it was easy to wean off that. But chicken and burgers, like I love a good burger, especially like farm burger up at Crosstown and stuff.
Farm burger is good.
I love a good burger. So I'm trying to wean myself off that. And go back to at least pescatarian, because I'm sorry, I love my seafood. I think seafood would be you will have to tie me to a salt trap to get me to stop eating seafood, especially salmon. That's my favorite.
And it's so good for you.
Yeah.
Like it's packed. I think salmon has like 20 grams of protein per serving, and even like tilapia's got a good amount of fats, like omega-3s and salmon and tuna and stuff like that. I actually can't stand like canned tuna.
Oh yeah.
I can't stand the smell or taste of it. Rachel loves it. I'm just like, stop eating that. Like, stop bringing it home. It smells awful and it tastes awful. But she'll mix it with like mayonnaise or hot sauce or something. That's what most people do, or relish or something like that. But I'm just not a fan of it.
But for the most part, I grew up, we either, eating what grandma and granddaddy made or McDonald's, so I've been into everything, the burgers, the fries, the pizzas. I love Mexican food.
Oh, so me too. Have you had tacos and ganas?
No.
Oh my God.
No, I am a shameless plug. El Mexcal and El Porton.
Okay. I've
person.
got let's see. I live over there on Macon and Houston Levy. I think there's an El Porton over there. And it was good. It was good.
I'm addicted to that stuff. That's going to be the hardest to wean off when I completely change my lifestyle, because I'm really trying to get serious back to my health and stuff. So that's going to be the hardest to not, because that used to be like a treat for me. Like for the big meals like that, it was like, hey, I'm just going to eat good eat healthy until payday, and then payday I pig out. So that's going to be the hardest to wean off. So I'm making that last. I start off with the fast food. I haven't eaten McDonald's or Taco Bell in I don't know how long, probably 5 years.
Nice.
So it's just the Mexican food and the sushi and stuff that's keeping me big.
Yeah, I mean, I think what hurts people the most is they, I guess, just like try to cold stop.
Yeah, I tried that and it does not work.
Yeah, it just doesn't work, because what you're doing is you're like shocking your body and your brain to thinking, nope, no more of this. And it's like nobody really works out well when they do that.
No.
Like you have to wean yourself off of it. Like instead of eating out 3 times a week, just do it 1 time a week, and pick a day. Like pick a day where I'm going to get fast food on this day. And what's going to happen is you're going to forget about it.
Exactly, yes.
And then you're like, oh, I didn't even, Sunday passed and I didn't even get my ice cream that I usually get.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even need it.
Exactly.
And then that's how you do it. You don't cold stop because you're going to want it
10 times more.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's why I say just wean off of it because, and I've done, so I did an elimination diet, and it was called the Carnivore Diet, and it's where you only eat meat.
Wow.
And that was, I will say, I looked the best I've ever looked in my entire life. It was pretty weird, and it happened so quickly.
Yeah.
So I weighed like 225 or something like that when I first started, and then in 2 weeks I got down to like 204.
Oh wow!
And I was like shredded.
Wow.
And then I was like, "This is awesome." But I'm not gonna lie. The first 4 days were fine, and then after about the 4th day, I was like, "Okay, I'm sick," because all I ate was like steak, chicken. And then I think I would eat like maybe some ground beef or I would just make burger patties and what else I eat? Bacon, sausage.
Oh yeah.
I think I ate eggs too, but those foods sound great. But when that's all you eat with like, I wasn't eating any condiments or anything.
Wow. Yeah.
It got real old and real greasy real fast. And I was like, I'm just really sick of eating this.
Yeah.
But, I stayed with it for, I think I did 2 weeks. And then I think I ended up doing it for like a month. I started adding things that had very few calories. And not calories, I'm sorry, very few carbs. So I would go with like 2 carbs or less.
Yeah.
So for all of you who don't know, mustard has like nothing in it. So you can eat as much mustard as you want. Ketchup is a different story because it's got like carbs
all this sugar
and sugar.
Stuff, yeah.
So I started having mustard. I think I was doing non-fat cheese because I think the carbs are a lot less. Well, I think actually regular shredded cheese usually has like 2 grams of carbs or something like that. So I started doing that and then just introducing like very few carbs in my diet. And I was still looking, pretty great as well. But I was like, this is not sustainable. Like, like for some people, it probably is. Like some people could probably keep that up. They're crazy.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, yeah, I like variety of food too much. Like no joke, I was craving like carrots and broccoli and hummus.
Wow.
I was craving it so bad.
I've never heard that, craving carrots.
Oh my God. I just wanted it so bad. And, sometimes they say if you're craving something, that's probably because your body is lacking it.
Yeah.
So if you want something salty, maybe your body needs like some salt in it or something like that. So that might have been it. But yeah, that was an experience.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
You should try.
No. That might turn me straight vegan for real. I don't think no steak and chicken and stuff and nothing else. Nah.
Yeah,
I gotta have my starches in it.
Yeah,
and my broccoli and things like that.
It was pretty weird. And like a potato. Like I was just craving a potato and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get rid of potatoes.
Yeah.
No. They're the best foods.
You were talking about Noah and Nadia. I think I don't know if she's vegetarian or vegan.
I'm not sure. Probably, I think I get vegan from her, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, she might be. But she does like on her page, like she'll show like all the stuff, like how she makes her food and like all the herbs and stuff that she does. And that's really cool. Like she's not just a vegan that's just like, also PETA too and all that kind of stuff. Like she's a vegan because she knows it's healthy for you and she's trying to show you all the great ingredients and all the great things that you can do with those foods. Like her food doesn't look boring. No,
not at all. I love watching her stories because I'm like, she makes it look amazing.
Right? Because me and Rachel, we did vegetarian for 2 weeks and then we did vegan for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Vegan was awful. Because for those of you who don't know, vegan, you don't eat any animal type products.
Yeah.
So like milk and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if vegetarian does that, but
Vegetarian does a little bit. Like, I think some people have a little dairy in it, just a little bit. And I know some vegetarians, they just don't, they're not as restrictive, you know, with like certain starches and things like that and side items. And I know some vegetarians that, you know, they'll still like have cheese every once in a while.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, veganism, nothing wrong with it. And I get it because I love animals so much, you know. Let's not take stuff that we don't need. But at the same time, it's like there's certain foods like I'm sorry, chickens. I'm not gonna not eat eggs. I'll not eat a chicken, but I'm gonna eat some eggs every once in a while. Every blue moon,
Yeah. And I think, you know, when we as people, you know, learn more about like how we get our food and stuff like that, that's going to change, you know, our mindsets. And I know people who say, oh, I saw how animals get treated, and so that's why I'm vegetarian, or that's why I'm vegan.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. Like you know, you might not be making a difference in the large scale of things, but
you're making a difference somewhere.
Yeah, somehow you are reducing the amount of, you know, food, and you're not supporting whatever. You know, it's kind of like a boycott, really.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like if you were boycotting, you know, like whatever, you are doing your part, and it might not make a huge difference, but you're doing whatever you think is right. So I don't fault people at all for
not
doing
at all.
that.
Yeah, I totally get and understand. The only things that annoy me is the shame that they try to project on others. It's like religion, which triggers me. Anything that triggers me or reminds me of a religion, you know, it does something to where I just like, I will do what I would do. I agree with your message, but I don't like how you're giving the message. You know, the messengers need to tweak their message more. Like, I get it, I stand behind it, but it's just some of the stuff I see online and stuff is like, hey, there is such thing as a privilege to being vegan or vegetarian, because in certain cities, people aren't going to drive all the way to Collierville to the nicest grocery store to get, you know, the vegan options. It's not, certain vegan products is not in Fraser. It's not, you know, it's just not there. And people don't have if they don't have the transportation to even go to the Kroger's that's down the street from them, they have to walk or take the bus. Why would you expect them to go to Whole Foods? Like, I have sympathy for those who just simply can't afford their lifestyle, even if they wanted it. And also, I grew up on a farm. Like, so I get the whole circle of life thing. That's one thing my granddaddy taught me. Like, I would go out and help him in the goat pen and the pig pen. And he's like, well, if a pig had babies, he was like, hey, you can name these 3. Don't get attached to the rest. Because he had to sell them. He had to sell them for food. That's how he made his money. That's how he was able to afford the things to take care of all of us, of our whole family. That's how he was able to buy the land and everything. So it's like, hey, these goats, you know, these are the ones you can have as a pet. The rest don't again. Just know that by Thanksgiving, they'll be gone. They will be gone. So it's like, hey, I get both sides. I get the circle of life. And, you know, we eat vegetables and we eat meat. That's just our diet. It's always been that way since the dawn of time. So, you know, I get both sides of the arguments.
I definitely think that people need that farm experience, because it shows them like these are these animals in their natural habitat and what they like to do on a daily basis. Like, chickens are very simple animals. Like, they're they're not doing anything crazy, and they can be pretty cute too.
Yeah, and not like if you have your own farm with a couple of chickens. Like, I agree with people who say, hey, I don't want to support the big factory farms. I don't want to support, the animal abuse that way. But I will buy chickens and I will buy cows and I will grow my own, things. And I will use the only milk I'll drink is from the cows that I own. The only eggs I'll use is from the chickens that I own. Because let's be honest, not every egg that comes out of chicken is fertile.
Yeah.
It's just going to go to waste. So let's not just let it rot and go to waste. Let's use it. But, so I feel like if people spent more time, even if they can't have a farm on their own, I know people who in other states, they live in a major city like Memphis or like Nashville, but they got a backyard big enough to have their own little chicken coop.
Yeah.
So they can have their own eggs, and and on the other side of their backyard, they have, they grow their own plants like tomatoes and things like that. So it can be done, even if it's just a small miniature farm that only feeds you and your family. It doesn't have to be like this big old huge thing that we see on TV with the red barn and the tractor trailers.
Yeah. I mean, I think, when people decide to value our farmers and what our farmers do for us as people, it's going to help our quality of food and quality of life go up. I love what you said about being vegan is like a privilege because me and Zoe Duran, do you know who that is?
Yes, I met her at the last Art Bazaar event here.
Art Bazaar. Shout out to David Yancey. Yes. David Yancey has brought together so many people. But freaking Zoe me and her were talking about just like the cultures in certain areas. Like people wonder why people act a certain way or do certain things in certain areas is because they don't have either the education in that area, they don't have the access to food, and so what do you expect them to do?
Yeah.
Like if they don't have the means to live a healthy life and do what they need to do, like how else are they supposed to live healthy and do healthy things?
Yeah.
Like, how do you act when you're hungry? You know what I mean? When you don't have the right nutrition, you're probably going to, cause a bunch of chaos in your area because you're hungry. You are eating, noodles all the time, and you don't have the access to good, healthy food. So,
and I'm not going to disclose where I work, but my full-time job is within the school system. And I've been at it for I want to say it's going on 8 years. And when I tell you the kids in this inner city, the youth, a lot of them, even the ones who are in the Germantown, Carnivore area, yes, their parents got them a big house, but they don't have enough money to put groceries in that big house. It's just a lot of kids will come to school, and most of the reasons why they're acting out is because they are hungry. They did not eat dinner the night before, or they did not get breakfast the day of, the morning of, and all they have is that free meal at school.
Yeah.
And it's you can't shame or fault them for eating, the fast food restaurants when that's all they have, and that's all they can afford.
Yeah.
And kids, they'll see my lunch and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, what are you eating?"
Where did you get that?
I know. And I was like, "Oh, I made it at the house." but sometimes I'll share, I'll be like, "Hey," because I understand and I get it. So it's not everybody. Some kids don't. There's certain vegetables that some kids have never been exposed to.
Yeah. Because
the school system isn't feeding them the healthiest. Even the vegetables that they have is from a freezer. So it's all they know is probably green beans, broccoli, and that's it. I could tell you, majority of the kids at the school I work at probably never heard of asparagus. Probably never seen it. Don't even know what it is, or cauliflower. So it's it's a lot of privilege to have a healthy lifestyle. I'm not trying to make an excuse, but that's just the reality of what it is. You can't expect a homeless person to be shredded like a bodybuilder. They just don't have the means.
Exactly. And it bothers me so bad that school nutrition is completely just put aside. We think that, and also just students paying attention in class. Like, hold on, so you're going to feed me
all this crap.
The worst food after I didn't eat breakfast because I woke up late, came to school, and I can't eat in class. So I can't eat like a granola bar or anything like that. And then I get to lunch, and then I have the crappiest food ever invented, ever created in a lab somewhere. And then you still want me to be an A+ student.
Yeah, be able to focus and stuff. It's like, no, that's not the reality. No.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that should be on the top of America's list and, all over the country. I don't know school lunches look like across the world, but that's something that we should definitely take advantage of is feeding kids a nutritious meal. I remember, I think I was in middle school when my school started serving breakfast.
Oh, wow.
I remember it was like, God, I think I was in middle school or something like that because they were like, hey, if you come to school early enough, we're going to start serving breakfast. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Breakfast.
and my dumb tail was thinking that they were going to have daggum Gordon Ramsay back there cooking up eggs.
You thought you was going to get an omelet.
I was like.
No, here go your Pop-Tart. Your strawberry Pop-Tart. There you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, good on them for realizing that kids probably need breakfast at school. But at the same time, it wasn't anything better than the lunch we were already getting that was trash.
Not at all. And then, don't go to a high school where they give you vending machines.
Oh, man. That's usually what people think is the best food is at the vending machine.
I'm not going to lie. My high school, man, I was looking forward to lunch because I was going to get my Fanta and some cookies. Forget what they cooking.
Yeah.
I'm going to the machine.
And that's the problem is that's what we think is better than the food that we're actually getting served, the warm meal that we're actually getting. So that's pretty crazy. But again, that's on the list of things that we need to, I guess, as people focus on.
For sure.
Focus on, getting those things to where we are able to live healthier lives and do what we need to do. Because at the end of the day, if we don't take care of ourselves, the dolphins are going to come around and be like, oh, y'all
the
got
dolphins
this
are going to come beat our ass.
Yeah. and when apes get to the point where they can start thinking, on our level, they're going to be like, y'all are a bunch of idiots.
I think we're going to get taken out by the octopuses.
You think so?
They are the smartest. A news article just recently came out that scientists are now officially saying they are sentient beings. Like, consider them like, they're just now saying that. Like, I remember it was either a YouTube video or some on Instagram, but it was a video at a certain aquarium where octopus kept escaping its enclosure.
Escaping?
He kept escaping.
Oh my God.
And finally it was a surveillance camera of him with his little tentacles undoing it. It was hilarious. He undid the thing in his tank, squeezed in a little crack and got out and was gone. They said like every day the octopus was out his tank.
Oh my God.
Like he was just that smart. So whenever I would watch, finally that movie Finding Dory came out and Hank the octopus, when he was helping her go from one place to another, I was like, that's for real. Like octopuses are really that smart. They know how to get out.
Dude, imagine if octopus can like speak to other animals, like communicate with other animals.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be the ringleaders of the sea. They're going to be like, no.
They're like, we're going to take this whole cruise ship down.
Hey, yo, check this out.
Yeah, I got a plan.
That's going to be crazy. So are squid and octopus like the same?
I think they're in like the same family, but still two totally different species. Kind of like there's just, there's different, like reptiles is all one big family, but there's so many different species and so many different types. So I feel like they're just like cousins, pretty much.
Yeah, I wonder if squid are like, that smart or something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, but octopuses for sure have proven time and time again. I just love watching octopus videos on TikTok.
Yeah.
It is hilarious.
Have you seen that video? It's like It's some guy. I don't know if he had a team, like a very small team, because he's in like a small pod, and they're showing, and it's like pitch black. He's underwater, so he's in like this like submarine underwater, and what happens? Oh, it's just pitch black, and they're like, all right. They say he caught something on footage, and then all you see is like this thing, the the guy from Hellboy that's got like the thing around his neck, and
yeah.
He's got the big glasses on or whatever.
Yeah.
So it looks basically just like him,
that.
and it hits the side of his pod, like the glass part of his pod.
Oh wow!
And it like smacks it. And it's like staring inside of his pod, and then it swims away. That's all you see.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I hope this is fake. I really hope this is fake.
No, I feel like there are some, especially in the deep sea, we haven't tapped in.
Terrifying.
There are certain spots, there are certain spots where even submarines don't go. And I don't think we've scratched the surface of what all lives in the ocean. I think God was playing around when he made ocean creatures. He was just bored. A
little bit of that.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh, this is what I will allow humans to see. The rest gonna go down deeper. Like, no.
Yeah, it's so terrifying. Think of what could be down there.
No. Like, I refuse to learn to swim just because I know I'm not going down there. Like, no.
Yeah. I remember just seeing like certain creatures on like I don't know, like Discovery Channel or something like that. And I'm just like, that's so crazy that's down there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And again, going back to how lucky are we that those things aren't just constantly interacting with us and like attacking us or something like that.
Or not even being fazed by us. They're just living their life, don't even know we exist.
Yeah.
They don't know we exist and we don't know they exist.
Yeah. And I remember seeing, I think it was like Neil deGrasse Tyson or somebody said, what we spend, I think in 1 year for space exploration, like through NASA, could fund ocean exploration for like 30 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, dear God. But that's the type of experiment that we should do. Like, okay, for 1 year, space, like we're not
take a pause.
We're not shutting you down, but we're just gonna, defund you for like 1 year. That's it. And then we're gonna fund, oceanic exploration. Yeah. And there's no telling what we would figure out. Like, there's got to be so much stuff down there that can help. Like, there might be like tons of gold or tons of iron or something that we use all the time that might be down there way deep into the Earth's sea level.
Or we might discover like fossils of dinosaurs that we've never imagined.
Yeah.
That we never even thought possible. Like, everybody think about T-Rex and raptors and stuff, but imagine what lived in the ocean during that time.
Terrifying.
Yeah. The skeleton, the fossils that we will find down there. Like, that would be amazing, but scary at the same time. We would probably think that they were aliens. We probably wouldn't even think dinosaurs or anything like that.
Yeah. But I think it would be cool though, right? Because it would give us more knowledge on what's going on the planet, with the history of the planet. And then just to be able to know that, we took the time to discover stuff about our own planet and how we can, keep it going.
Exactly.
Because we always talk about like Elon Musk and going to Mars and stuff like that. Like, that's awesome. I love it. But why do you think he's trying to go to Mars? It's because we're messing the thing we got up now. Like, you move because you don't like where you're at.
Yeah.
Like where you're at. Like, fix where you're at, and then you don't have to move. Like,
exactly.
That's what Elon talks about all the time is, we need to find a way to get to another planet so that we can continue to evolve and survive. It's like, no, we don't. We just need to take care of the planet.
Exactly.
But he's smart enough to realize that we aren't doing that.
Yeah.
That's why we need to go to another
He's
planet.
like, he know we're not going to do right. So he's like,
us.
Let's find a plan B. He already know.
First of all, Elon's an alien anyways.
Exactly.
let's not even ignore the fact that he's an alien. But he is definitely smart enough to realize that we aren't taking care of this planet. So we need to find another planet to go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love for us to figure out more stuff about the ocean.
Me
because
too.
it's beautiful, number one.
Yeah.
All the creatures that are down there. I was watching something one time and it was showing like have you seen those fish that like glow in the dark and whatnot?
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Scary again.
Yeah, very scary.
Yeah, because like some of those things will have like these giant teeth, and even like on Finding Nemo, that one with the and it had like that light that they were following. Like that's so scary, but at the same time, it's like, hey, that's life. You know, that's just what's down there. That's how things have evolved over time. So
yeah,
you just got to embrace it.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be cool for us to just go down there, seeing any type of technology possible to go down there and capture something.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think is something that you've seen, I guess just, I don't know, scientifically wise that we do that you're interested in? Like I'm huge into space. That's like my one thing. So what's something that that you're into that we've been doing?
I honestly, I'm not really crazy about space. I do think the ocean is amazing, but I love the rainforest.
Mm.
I'm fascinated with the rainforest. Just going somewhere and being lost in the trees.
Mm.
And it's weird because trees will kill me with my allergies. a lot of plants are not my friend, but just to go somewhere and just not know where you are. And when you look up, all you see is green hovering over you.
The canopies.
Yeah, I just think that's the most beautiful thing ever. And I would just love to experience that. I don't want to get lost, but I would love to just experience just having the earth show me how small I am, basically. Basically, just saying, hey, you are not as big and as important as you think you are. It's a very humbling experience, just doing something like that, being out in the wild. Kind of like going to Africa and the savannas and stuff like that. If you're around all these apex predators, you'll be humbled very quickly.
Yeah.
Even if you're just in a car, just looking at them, sightseeing, you'll be just seeing a rhino here, a lion there, an elephant there. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I'm not shit compared to, we're just puny little humans.
Yeah. It makes us definitely, as you said, makes you feel small. It makes you realize what's out there. You know what I mean? And I think that might be a lot of people's problem with sustaining rainforests and stuff like that is because it might make them feel small.
Yeah.
That's why probably a lot of people go hunting these exotic animals.
The game hunters, I hate them so bad. Yeah.
In different countries is because they want that feeling of, oh, I killed this thing.
Yeah.
And it's like,
but it's like, come on now. Yeah. I want to see you kill it with your bare hands. Then you'll be big man. Yeah. Not with a bullet. No.
Yeah, I think that there are different ways that we could definitely handle that kind of stuff. But it's definitely a humbling experience to be in those kind of environments. Have you ever been to like a cool rainforest? Like a natural rainforest?
No, I want to. That's my biggest dream.
I would suggest, just because I've been there, Ecuador. Ecuador is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And the rainforest and stuff like that around there is just so cool.
I believe it.
I was hiking through like a side road forest area, and it turned out to be like a nice bridge and water and everything. And I was like, this is so cool. And it just feels so ancient. You know what I mean? Like, it feels so untouched. Like, I know there was a bridge there that somebody put there. Like, obviously.
But at the same time,
it didn't feel like, I was somewhere in America where, tourists go all the time and people are, hanging out there and partying and whatnot.
Yeah.
It felt like something that was natural. Like it just, as ancient, I guess is the best word I can describe. Something that was just so earthly and just been there for a long time. And I was like, this is how a lot of places should be. You know what I mean? This is how some things should just be kept like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely have to put Ecuador on my list of places to check out. My big goal is to go study the land of which my pets are from.
Mm.
So I want to go.
Oh my God, how many pets do you have?
Including my dog and all the snakes, I would say I'm at 12 now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I was like, she probably has a ton of pets.
Yeah.
Okay, so what all do you have?
I have 2 boa constrictors. I have
Pause.
Pause.
2 boa constrictors?
Yes. One baby and one fully grown. I have.
Are they related?
No,
okay.
I got them at different times from different people. And I have a chocolate lab pit bull mix, and then the rest are ball pythons.
The rest are pythons?
Well, no, I take that back. I have 1 California king snake, and the rest are ball pythons.
And this is at your residence where you live at?
Uh-huh. Some are in the living room, some are in the bedroom.
Oh my God.
I do plan on, because we live on a bunch of land, we still live on my granddad's property. My parents did say there's a piece of land that I could build on. And so my goal is to build a big giant, I would say, reptile house. It's going to be an insulated shed, but a big giant reptile house where I could fit my snakes plus a few dream lizards that I want.
Now, do you have to keep them separated?
Yeah. The only time I would ever put them together, which I have no plans right now, is breeding. Yeah, I don't have any plans for that right now. Maybe in the future I might breed my first snake just because I really want to continue his line. And just to say, hey, I have the offspring of the very first snake I ever owned. But as far as being a breeder, Memphis has a lot of breeders. They don't need another one. It's totally
Memphis
saturated.
Memphis has a bunch of snake breeders?
Yes. The reptile community is bigger than what you think, sir.
I'm gonna have to shut this down.
We have a reptile expo that happens 3 or 4 times a year at the Lander Center. So yeah.
Oh my God. You know what? Yeah, I should go to this.
Yeah, Repticon is so much fun.
Oh man. Yeah, I think that it's healthy for people like me to be around that. And so my wife, her family, I think they used to have a snake. I don't think they have it anymore. R.I.P. Thank God. But yeah, so we were up at her parents' house and we were just outside, just hanging out. And then her mom was like, hey, Jackson. I like turned around, has the snake in hand, like almost threw it at me. And I'm like, I'm about to run and drive away, and I'm leaving Rachel here. But she ended up putting it on my neck, I think. And then it was just like crawling around. It was like, it started wrapping around my neck. And I was like, hey, time to take it away. But it was a pretty cool snake. It was pretty chill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't understand them and they freak me out. But
they're super cool, super chill, and they really aren't dangerous as people make them out to be. At the most, a snake will warn you a good 10 times before it bites.
So what's some warnings from a snake?
The first warning for most snakes, well, let me speak for my pets.
Okay.
Morticia, one of my boa constrictors, if she's about to go into shed, they always shed like once a month or whatever.
Oh, I didn't know they shed that often.
Yeah, because they're constantly growing. Now, as they get older, the sheds are less frequent, but they still shed.
Okay.
When she's going in, the best way I know she's about to go into shed is when she hisses at me. If I open her enclosure, she's hissing. I'm like, it's that time of the month. She ain't ready. She don't want to be bothered. Other times she's chill. I open the cage up and she's chill. She's looking at me. She flicks her tongue to smell. But for her, the first warning is a hiss. For my California king snake, the first warning, one thing about king snakes is that they like to mimic rattlesnakes. And so they'll just wag their tail real fast.
Oh, wow.
That's the first warning. They'll wag their tail real fast. And then if you continue to like pick them up anyway, then they pee and poop on you.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, it's called musking. So where they do the combination of the two at the same time. So they'll do that. And if you're still bothering them and they feel like they're just stressed out or they feel like they're in danger, especially the babies because everything looks dangerous to them, then they might strike with a bite. But some snakes, I've discovered, just following a bunch of reptile people on YouTube. So some snakes will give you a false bite where they tap you with their face, but they never open their mouth just to freak you out and make you think they bit you.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
That's wild. I didn't know that.
I follow a bunch of guys on YouTube. They have collection of venomous, especially out in Florida. And a lot of their venomous snakes, they will either do a false bite where they'll just hit you but don't open their mouth, or if they do bite, it's a dry bite.
Okay.
Like there's some venomous snakes that can control their venom. They're not every bite is not gonna inject you. So they will give you plenty of warnings beforehand of like, yo, leave me alone. I'm not in the mood, or I'm scared, I'm defensive. Before like the bite is the last resort. That's usually not the first go-to for snakes. Okay. Yes, people think.
Yeah, in my head, a snake is like, all snakes are venomous. All snakes are 1,000% dangerous. And that's, as I said, like that's just, what this one time, me and Rachel, we went on a walk through, I think it was Shelby Farms no, it wasn't. Yeah, I think it was Shelby Farms. And we were close to some water.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, there is a massive, I'm talking 60-foot snake.
60? No.
Again, that's
your brain.
My brain. This was a 60-foot anaconda with a Samuel Jackson type snake. No. And it was all black. And I was like, all right, I'm about to die. And I saw it just slithering away.
In reality, it's a 3 foot.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was legit like 3 foot. It was not even that big. And I just started walking toward the car. I didn't say anything to Rachel.
You just left.
I just left. I literally just walked back.
And he was like, if she dies, she dies.
Yeah. I just have to be faster than her because the snakes are just going to get her. But yeah, that was terrifying. But literally, it was right next to me. And it just literally just went right by me. But I was like,
wasn't even phased.
That's too close for comfort. I'm not about this right now.
He was like, nope, I'm out.
What do they call them? Nope ropes. Yeah. Nope ropes.
Nope ropes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that was pretty scary. I don't even know why. I forgot why I told you.
Oh, that's funny though.
But anyway, so continue about the rest of your snakes.
They are for the most part they're pretty chill. Stitch was an asshole. I put a post on Instagram recently telling his story. Like sometimes I'll post my snakes on Instagram and I will put in the caption, who they are and their personalities and stuff just for fun. But yeah, Stitch was the only one that I've ever had that was like ready to fight me every day of his life. And I don't know why.
So when did you get him?
I want to say I got him 2016, 2017. He came later. Jafar, my first snake, I got in 2015. So Stitch came way later, but he just was not happy. And I had a lot of close calls to where he almost bit me. But he never did because I'm just too quick and I can read like the body language of a snake.
My God.
Yeah. So it's like, once you have them long enough, you can tell you're like, oh, you're in one of those moods. But now he's finally got to the point where he tamed down enough to where I can just reach in his enclosure, pick him up, take a couple of pictures, put him back, and he's fine. I still won't take him to photo shoots, but it's like, okay, we finally got to a point where you trust me and that you know I'm not gonna, kill you or anything.
So you said not taking them to photo shoots. What are some things that are human related things that we do that makes snakes nervous? So like loud noises or anything, like what makes a snake nervous?
Mainly we're just big monsters to them. Even anacondas and like the big threes, the anacondas, the reticulated pythons, and the Burmese pythons. Even to them, we see them as these big, huge, giant snakes, but they feel small around us.
Oh.
So just our mere presence can make them feel uncomfortable. Unless you have a snake that's real confident in himself.
Yeah.
Because there are snakes like that. There are some snakes that are like from the jump, from birth, they just don't care.
I feel like that would be king snakes because they eat like a bunch of other snakes, right?
King snakes are sometimes as babies, they can be pretty flighty because they're like this small.
Oh.
They literally look like worms as babies.
Wow.
That's how small they are. So birds can eat them, other lizards can eat them, other snakes can eat them. But once they mature and become adults, oh yeah, there's no scaring a king snake, really. Because they eat other snakes. I really feel like the big bads, and when I say big bads, I just mean the overly confident, is the cobras, the different monocle cobras and stuff like that. Because they're venomous snakes, but they also eat other snakes.
Okay.
They don't just eat rodents. They can eat rodents as part of their diet, but they eat other things. Like people who own cobras, like my favorite YouTuber is Tyler Nolan. He's a tattoo artist, and he has like probably over 50 snakes and lizards in his house. I don't know. But majority of them are venomous. And so he feeds them Burmese pythons. So
he feeds them other snakes?
Yeah. So it's like, because in Florida, they got a law you can hunt the Burmese because they're invasive species. So, if you got a license or whatever, you can go out to the Everglades, hunt them, and sell their skins or whatever. So he has people who hunts them, and they'll just send to him because that's food source. That's free food source for his snakes. So to have a large king cobra that's able to eat at least medium-sized Burmese python, that's pretty massive. So I feel like they are the most confident, them and the mambas. There's a reason why Kobe called himself the black mambas. The mambas, there's no messing with mambas. Like they know, I feel like those snakes are aware of their power.
Yeah.
They're aware, so they fear nothing.
So what does a mamba usually eat? Is it just other snakes and anything, or
I think smaller snakes, they're not going to eat a retic or a Burmese, but for the most part, rodents and things like that, any small animals. I've heard that in the wild they've caught some up in the trees eating birds and stuff. Whatever they can fit in their mouth, they're going to try it.
Okay, yeah, that's you hear about the black mamba and stuff like that. So with a king snake, I heard, gosh, what is it about the reason why they can eat venomous snakes? They just have like something inside of them that they're able to.
It's kind of like they're immune to the venom.
Yeah. I forgot what it is specifically, but I'd heard about that, and that's why they're able to.
They're able to overpower them. Yeah, and they have a mean, overpowering force. Like boa constrictors and pythons, they constrict their prey. They'll squeeze it, make sure it's dead, then they'll eat. King snakes, they don't care. They don't care if you're still alive. They're just gonna swallow you. They're going to grab you and they're going to swallow. Well, if you're a rodent, or another snake, they're just going to overpower you with their muscles and their body. Like they're not waiting for you to stop breathing. And like, at least with the venomous snakes, for their prey, they'll bite, wait till it goes and dies off, and then eat. And no, not king snakes. They don't care.
That's so
They
crazy.
like, you can still be crying for your mother and we're still swallowing you. We don't care.
That's so wild. Yeah. Like snakes are such interesting creatures.
They are.
And again, it's one of those like research. Like and I think snakes can be one of those creatures that people develop false confidence about, even like bears. I don't know why people develop false confidence with bears.
Yeah.
You know, a bear is absolutely fast and strong. Don't act like you can just get around a bear and snap some pictures and you'll be fine. That bear is going to bite your face off.
Like we talked about earlier, it's the cute factor.
Yeah.
They're so cute. It's like, oh,
stop.
Winnie the Pooh. Like, oh. But with snakes, I think it's because, one, they don't have any legs. Yeah. And two, they are, for the most part, most species are relatively small. So even though, yes, we fear them, but most people have the confidence of, if I see one in my yard, let me go grab it by the tail and stuff and whip it around. It's because they're so small. They don't have hands or claws to grab you if you just yank it up by its tail.
To me, that makes it seem more dangerous, right?
Yeah, because they can whip back.
Yeah, this thing can go probably 15 miles per hour, and it doesn't have legs.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and they use every muscle in their body. They can just come back around and get you.
Yeah, when I see people who are like, yep, this is the most deadliest snake, and they're just like letting it. I'm just like, dude, that's called false confidence. You should not, don't trust any snake.
You can trust some.
They're all untrustworthy.
No. Some, like Tyler Nolan, he knows his venomous snakes. There are certain cobras he knows that, okay, like I believe Rusty is one of them, or Kevin. No, that's another reptile breeder, but it's like he knows which cobras are confident, cool, calm, and collected. And then he has some that are not so cool, calm, and collected. So some he will lift up with his bare hands. Others he will need a glove and some hooks. So you got to learn your animals, especially if you raise them as babies. By the time they're full grown adults, the utmost confident. You're confident in them and they are confident in you. And once you bridge that relationship together, it's like perfect.
Yeah.
There are certain people who can have like rattlesnakes and they can have it wrapped around their necks. And you and I would think, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But they know their snake. They can read it. They can feel the body language. They know that this particular animal is not going to whip out and bite. And if it was to whip out and bite, they're prepared.
Yeah.
They're mentally and emotionally prepared. They're like, hey, that comes with the territory.
Is Tyler like a taller white dude that looks kind of fit?
I don't think he's that tall, but he is a white dude. He's heavily tatted with long hair.
Nah, this isn't. So I know another guy, and this guy's really young.
Yeah.
I think he's probably like in his early 20s maybe. But I think he was working at a, I don't think it was a zoo. I think it was like a sanctuary or something for, it might have been multiple different animals. But I know in this one area, it was all snakes.
Yeah.
And he was handling, he had a snake. I think he named it Kevin.
Chandler's Wildlife.
That might be
Chandler,
him.
Yeah.
I was watching that dude's stuff for a while, and
I love him.
It's straight comedy the way he talks about those snakes. He's like, all right, again, he's like, yep, this snake is super deadly and super venomous, and I'm just like, put it back, put it down.
Why are you holding it in your hand?
Oh my God! But again, he knows how to handle them. He was like, yep. He'll like open one of the cages, like open the sliding door, and then like the snake will like strike at him. And he's like, all right, closing that back. And at least he knows, like he knows how to handle those snakes. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that he knows, like, as you said, like their personalities. He knows like what they're going through and if they've had a bad day. And what I hated watching but loved watching was when he'd give them baths.
Oh yeah, it's got to soak them in.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, actually, let me look this up. I'll put it on this TV.
Okay.
But, what's his name? Chandler?
Yeah, Chandler. Yeah, he used to work at a sanctuary, but I think now he has his own place, his own property, and he now has an owl, and I think that is so cool, named Bagoyle. Bagoyle. And he has a bunch of crocs and alligators, but yeah, he was working at an animal sanctuary in Florida for some time, and and they let him house his own personal snakes there.
Yeah.
And so he would have videos with Kevin. Yes. Yes.
Look at that, guys. Do you see that?
Oh.
Yep, that's Kevin.
Just like that.
Like that snake's not playing with him. Yeah. Like the stuff that dude was doing, it was blowing my mind. I was like, I can't believe he's doing that right now. Like,
and his new facility, he said once he gets it up and running, he's going to and have a whole snake building. He's going to open it to the public to do like tours and stuff. Oh. And that's my bucket list, to go down there and meet him and see Kevin and all that jazz.
It's in Florida, isn't it?
Yeah. South Florida, that's where they are. Yeah. Yeah,
that he's got some pretty cool stuff. And for him to be so young and to have that much knowledge and to actually care, you know, he's not doing it just for like entertainment. Like he genuinely cares about those snakes and genuinely wants to educate people. Yeah. And it's really cool to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my goal for here in Memphis. Not with venomous, but with other snakes, just to educate everybody and have people like fall in love with them and not see them as the monsters that society made them out to be.
Does the zoo have a good snake exhibit or anything like that?
They have a somewhat decent snake exhibit. They have some nice collection where you can get a variety. They have a Burmese python in there. They have a retic in there. They have a green mamba in the same enclosure with a gaboon viper. Because the green mamba just stays up in the little tree, the little top, and the gaboon stays at the bottom. Okay. So they're able to coexist together. So they have a pretty, they have a cobra, a king cobra. So they have a good, decent side. They have a whole Komodo dragon exhibit.
Oh, wow.
Where they have the big ones, where during the summertime, you can see them outside and stuff like that. In the wintertime, you can go see them on the inside, in their inside enclosure, because they have to stay in heat. And then they have a few young Komodo dragons, like babies, in the same building with the snakes. So yeah, it's pretty decent. Yeah. In my opinion. It's not, sorry, Memphis Zoo, I love y'all. I'm a member. Don't kick me out. It's not the best aesthetically pleasing building, but it serves its purpose. And I think the enclosures are decent enough for the animals. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I need to go. I haven't been to the Memphis Zoo yet. I hear it's actually like one of the best zoos there is in America.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
What's your, like, I guess, top things there?
Definitely the big cat country, or cat country. I don't know the official name, but it's like when you first walk in, it's off to the left side. Okay. Definitely the Hurt building. I love the tropical birdhouse. Just for one thing only, there is a hornbill in there named Jenny and her brother named Harry, but Jenny is the star. Okay. When you go in, just yell out Jenny and you will hear her. She responds.
That's crazy.
She has character. And then when people go up to the cage, she will actually fly down close enough where you still have the barrier, but she will come down and look and try to poke her beaks out through the cage and stuff like that. Like, she's amazing. I go there every Saturday to take pictures, and I always take a visit to the birdhouse, and I was like, "Hey, Jenny!" And then all of a sudden you hear, and it's just her responding. Okay, she's my favorite. She's my favorite. During the summertime, they have a little stingray exhibit where you can go and feed the stingrays and stuff. And wasn't last year before last, they had like a 2-month-old baby stingray. And so when I went to go feed them, I made sure I fed the baby every time. And it just feels funny feeling them suck the food out your hand from the bottom. It's like a vacuum. And that's my favorite thing. But that's only when it's hot outside. Do they have that open.
So how is it like during this time of year?
During this time of year, it's very mellow. It's not even busy.
Oh, okay.
Because nobody wants to go outside. So when I'm there, sometimes it's probably 1 or 2 families in there with me in the whole zoo.
Dang.
Yeah, during this time. Like last weekend I went and I go there exactly at 9 because when the zoo first opened is when the animals are the most active and when like the last hour before the zoo closed. And so I go there at 9 and it's like probably 3 of us in line to go in. The parking lot was pretty much empty. Okay. And so it's perfect for that much. But at the flip side, certain animals will not be out if it's too below freezing. Okay. So that's the flip side of it. So I believe last weekend the temperatures were just so bad that the only cats that were out were the leopards, the snow leopard and the regular leopard. The lions, the tigers, they were all inside. They were like, nah, we ain't doing it. Not today. Leave us alone. To me, the fall is the perfect. Okay. It's just that perfect window of it's not as busy and the temperature isn't as bad. It's not scorching hot and you're sweating. Yeah. So I feel like the fall, like closely around almost Zubu time and Halloween and stuff is the perfect time to go. To go visit, yeah. That's all
distracting. So you were talking about something you like to do, kind of like what Chandler does. How would you do it? Like, what would you want to do?
Well, I'm slowly but surely building my YouTube channel. Okay. It's very slow because I did not know how I was going to do it. Like I started off doing reviews. So it's called Snake Cinema Music Reviews, where every Monday I review a movie while holding a snake. And every Friday I review like either an album or a single while holding the snake. And a lot of people said that's a good concept, good idea. And I enjoyed it, especially during the pandemic where we weren't doing anything and we're just sitting at the house. Like I'm watching movies on stream and I'll go review it while playing with my snakes. And it was fun. But I'm just taking a little break from it now. But I also want to do more educational where I'm actually talking about reptiles. And I also want to travel more to different places, both wild and in captivity, where there's a sanctuary or something, and show people, different reptiles, like different lizards and different turtles and tortoises and alligators and things like that. So my family, we are taking a trip down to Florida, just a typical, hey, let's go to Disney World, let's go to Universal. But I told them I'm taking time out of one of those days to go to Gatorland, which is a big old like alligator theme park. Okay. And I'm going to spend there just creating content and taking photos and videos of the alligators and the crocodiles and just show that experience and stuff. So that's a goal of mine.
Have you ever heard of Alligator Alley?
I've heard of it, but I haven't been there.
It's in Alabama. Okay. As I said, I'm from Alabama, and me and my wife were actually, I think we were at the beach, and then on our way back up north, because my parents live like northeast Alabama. Yeah. So on our way back, we were like, let's go stop at Alligator Alley. So we stopped there. First time we ever went there. That was a crazy experience because there was so many alligators there. Yeah. And they did have some snakes. And what else did they had? They had like an iguana. So do you remember that like big eclipse that we had like a few years ago? Gosh, what year was that? That might have been 2018, actually.
Probably, yeah.
But that when we went, that was the day of the eclipse.
Oh, wow.
And they had an iguana there, and they gave it like some sunglasses to play. So it was so funny.
Oh my gosh.
But I'll have to show you some pictures when we get done. Yeah. But they had that. What else did they have? They had some massive alligators. And the guy they had like one of those exhibit type people, and he's he's beyond a fence. So they had like stadium seating with bleachers, and then that is fenced off, and then it's just some grassland, and then water.
Yeah.
So the whole place looks like a what do you call it? An Everglades or something like that. Like that's what the whole Alligator Alley looks like. And he's feeding some of the alligators, and he's talking about like, what's his name? He's blind, so we just throw some food near him, and if he catches it, he does. And I was like, hold on, pause. If you're standing next to him, how does he not know not to eat you?
You don't.
I was like, oh my God. But I think we asked, like, how do they get the alligators? And they said some of the alligators just swim up.
Yeah.
They're just like random alligators. And I was like, holy crap.
Yeah. Alligators are very smart. They've learned to associate humans with, hey, they might feed me. Like, so especially in Florida, which is, it's a law. If you see a wild alligator, don't feed it. Don't get it. Don't get it used to it, to being fed, because then it becomes a nuisance. Then they have to come catch it and kill it and all that stuff. But yeah, some alligators are just that smart. They see humans hanging out by the water. They're like, hey, they might have something to throw at me.
That's
so
crazy.
Let me go. And it's so many people. I've learned a lot. Alligators, they can be trained to come by their name. And that's why I love watching the Gatorland videos on YouTube, because they'll be like, hey, Dundee. And he'll just, all of a sudden, you don't see nothing. You see just a pool of water, a bunch of eyes. Then all of a sudden, one particular, out of all the millions of eyes in the lake, one particular would just come out, and that'd be Dundee coming to get his food. And it's just, it's funny. Like, those animals are the most respected in my eyes. In my eyes, I respect them a lot. And I love them a lot. I wish I could own one, but I know I can't.
Yeah.
Legally, well, knock on wood, right now you can own a dwarf caiman in Tennessee.
What's the dwarf caiman?
It's the Pomeranian of the alligators. It's they're a lot smaller. They don't get more than, from head to tail, probably 4 or 5 feet.
Maybe like the size of like an iguana or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, but there's still an alligator. I mean, or a crocodile, really.
Okay.
A caiman. But yeah, there's a particular species called the Cuvier's dwarf caiman. And there's this guy in New England named Kevin McCurley. He breeds them. And they are the most beautiful little miniature crocs ever. And one time I went to the Reptile Expo, I told you about, Atlanta Center, Repticon, and there were some breeders there. And one guy had this little Sterlite tub, and I looked, and it was a baby Cuvier's dwarf caiman, and just $400. And I asked him, I said, is this legal in Tennessee? Like, could I cross state lines? Because, we were in Mississippi at the time.
Yeah.
I said, could I cross state lines? He said, yeah. I was like, oh my gosh. I wanted so bad. I was like, nope, can't do it. I don't have the space.
Yeah.
But if once I get the space, and as long as the laws don't change by the time I get the space and get that big reptile shed I want, I'm getting one.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think alligators are pretty cool creatures. Like they're, as you said, they seem like they're pretty smart. This one time I saw a video of a horse was getting attacked by an alligator, and it started stepping on it. And it was just kicking the piss out of this horse. I mean, out of the alligator. I was like, I never would have thought that. Like, I thought the alligator would just come up, chomp his legs off, end of story. But that horse was putting in work on that alligator. I was like,
oh my gosh. I just saw a TikTok video where an alligator was just, no, it was actually a crocodile. A crocodile was by the water, and a baby hippo came and was just chewing on his tail like a chew toy, just playing. And the croc didn't do nothing. It just sat there.
Oh my goodness.
Like, yeah, what am I going to do? Because in the wild, hippos reign supreme.
Yeah.
On land and in water. And crocs know that. They are smart. They fought many battles to know not to mess with the hippos. So even though it's a baby, and 9 times out of 10, the croc could have turned around and wiped the baby out. But it's like, I'm not going to even try. I'm not going to even. Why would I do that? His mom is probably right there. Like, I'm not going to even tell. So he just wagged his tail and let the baby hippo play with it.
That's crazy.
It didn't even bother.
Yeah, hippos, I've heard they can be pretty mean, but yeah, as you said, they're like the underrated how powerful
yes.
they can be in that kingdom.
Because like the bears, they see it all little chunky, cute
Yeah,
little fat little animal, and it's like, but no, it has sharp teeth and it has a bite force and it has muscles. Even though it looks fat, it's muscles.
Yeah.
Because and they can swim really fast.
Really?
I've seen some videos on YouTube of people on a boat and the hippo is with the boat, like going fast. And they're screaming, they're like, oh, and the hippo's going with them.
Dude, that's another one of those things where it's like,
again, I don't fuck with the water. I love the water, but I know it's too many creatures that can take me out in the quickness.
And we're so fortunate that hippos aren't like,
We're fortunate that hippos aren't native to America.
That too.
I think the hippos will wipe us out more than anybody.
Yeah. I know, God, there's something else that's like pretty crazy about, I don't know if it was hippos or what, but yeah, they're so, again, like fast and strong, and then they're big, and it's like, don't mess with it. Just leave it alone.
Leave it be.
But because, you don't hear about hippos, just attacking people randomly. They're attacking people because they're in their neighborhood. And then...
Or they've been provoked, or a tourist is on a safari and they see a baby and they get too close, and then you got to run for your life.
Treating it like a bear.
Yeah, treating it like a bear.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, let's actually wrap this up.
Okay.
It's been amazing talking to you. It's been so fun learning about all the things you know about animals, and I think this will definitely help people who don't know stuff. I didn't know about Tyler. I'll have to look up some of his stuff.
Yes, he's amazing.
Because I think the only snake person I really looked into was Chandler. He had some really cool stuff on that. So give everybody your everything, all your videos and Instagram and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. You can follow me on Instagram at Creative Reptiles. I also have a photography page, Elias Creatives, ELIAS, then Creatives. That's where I do my wildlife pictures. And also I'm on TikTok with my reptiles. I show my snakes on TikTok. So TikTok at Creative Reptiles all together. So yeah, that's it.
Cool. What do you have? What have you got coming up? Are you working on something?
Art Bazaar.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. They have an event coming up on February the 26th. Please follow Art Bazaar 901 on Instagram, where you get the dates and times and everything. I will be one of the photographers there, and I'm bringing at least 4 of my snakes, I know for sure, and a bunch of models. A bunch of models have already DM'd me and with their ideas, concepts, and outfits, saying, "Hey, at the event, can I please get a picture with your snake?" And so I'm so looking forward to all the content that we're going to create there, because my snakes are pretty dope models.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, again, it's been great having you on. Might have to have you on again. With, we didn't even talk about photography.
I know, right?
Oh, my goodness. I did that with, do you know Michael Cataltopy?
Yeah.
Press Pause Images. That's him on,
I do know him. Yes, Press Pause. Okay, I didn't know who,
So I had him on, and me and him talked for I think it was 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And didn't mention anything about, maybe a minute for photography. And then I was like, hey, man, let's wrap this up and blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, we didn't even talk about photography. And then we started talking about photography for another hour.
Oh, my gosh.
I was like, dear God. But yeah, it was pretty funny. But he's a really cool guy. Great photos.
Yeah.
Does great work. But yeah, I'll be there. I'll be doing stuff. I've been treating this completely wrong, I think, because I didn't even know about it at all. And David sent me the info about it.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll come. Because I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll show up to whatever your event is. And then Then he put me in the group chat, and all these models started hitting me up, and I was like, hold on. What's
you was
going
like,
on?
wait a minute.
I was like, I didn't know what we were doing. I thought I was just going to show up and take some photos. Like, I didn't know what was going on. So I actually need to get on the ball and like actually figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
'Cause I think a few of them hit me up and said, you know, do like we can do whatever I'm cool with. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I think most of the event is going to be just winging it, like networking, photographers, meeting models, and, you know, chopping it up, getting to know each other, and also taking pictures with different.
I don't have to have a game plan going in. I can just kind of make it up.
Yeah, yeah. That was my game plan until all the models started DMing me, and then there were some clothing brands that DM'd me and was like, "Hey, could we borrow a snake for a certain concept?" I was like, "Sure, that's fine." Because I think some people think because I'm a shooter as well, I'm a photographer, that I only want people to use me as a photographer, which is not the case. Like, I will be honest, the photographers I've already who chosen me. Once I shoot them, I want to be done shooting and I just be the snake person.
Oh, okay.
While other photographers and the rest of the models work together and they just say, "Hey, Elias, can we use Jimmy the boa for this? And can we use Jafar for this?" and stuff like that. Because, you know, I'm just one person. So me having a camera while having a snake is going to be kind of difficult. So with the people who I've already confirmed ideas with, which I'm super excited about, once I'm done shooting them, I'm just going to say, "Hey, it's a free-for-all. I'm stepping back. I'm putting my camera up right now. The rest of y'all can collab and just tell me when you need a snake."
Okay.
Yeah, that's my plan in the beginning was just to show up and wing it. Okay. But yeah, so I think both is fine. You don't have to pre-plan anything. Cool. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm happy about that. Well, all right. Again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
My very first podcast.
Yeah, you did great.
Thank you.
You did great. All right. Well, thank you for everybody tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Yes. Bye.